Hi, I'm Granny B and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be making chicken rice soup, and I'm making it in a way to where you don't have to have the rice in the soup because in my case I'm on a low carb diet, and to date I have lost 26 pounds. So we're going to get started now. The first thing you do is we're going to just make rice, steamed rice. So you start with 1 cup of rice, 1 teaspoon of salt, and it's already in there. And here I have some chicken broth that I've been cooking today, and I've poured it up so that the fat comes up, and we're going to take some of this fat off and we're going to get 2 cups of broth. If you put this in the refrigerator, then that fat gets hard and you can lift it out. A little bit of fat in there won't matter at all. That just gives you more flavor. So steamed rice is simply 1 cup of rice, 2 cups of liquid. In this case I'm using the broth because I want it to taste good and rich, and it doesn't dilute my chicken soup whenever I put it all together. So there we go. You bring it to a boil. Now what I did today was bought one of those 10-pound bags of chicken leg quarters. And in those leg quarters, they're big old chunks of chicken, and they always have the back rib attached. So what I did is I cut them into pieces, and I cut that back rib off, and I put it in this pan. That's what that looks like. I cut that off because I wanted the bones. And I boiled that down. I started boiling that down, and that's where I got my good rich chicken broth. So we're going to put in a tablespoon of oil, butter, or you could even use your chicken fat. I think I'm going to do that today. 1 tablespoon is all you need. And then your vegetables. This is called mirepoix if you were in cooking school, but it's a combination of about 1 stalk of celery, 1 small carrot, and about half an onion. When I measured that out, it came to about a cup of vegetables. So you put that cup of vegetables in there and you just saute it for about 5 minutes. So while that's going, I'm going to show you the chicken now. I put the chicken pieces, the thighs and the legs, in my Pampered Chef bowl. I love these, but you could bake it at anything. This is my first hint. Everybody else, most everybody else, when they're going to make chicken soup, they'll boil their chicken and get that's how they'll get their broth, and that's how they cook their chicken. But to me, when I boil the chicken, it tastes watered down. So I bake my chicken, and then I start pulling it off the bones. Out of that 10-pound bag of chicken, I used 5 pounds here. So part of this, about half of this, is going to go in the chicken, and the other half is going to go into another meal. So we're going to save the chicken legs for another meal, and we're going to take these thighs and we're going to start pulling that chicken right off the bone. Make sure you don't get that knuckle bone in there because that doesn't taste good in your chicken. And then keep your bones and cook them again. In fact, when you buy a rotisserie chicken, save the carcass, boil it back down, and you won't believe how good that broth is going to be for you to put in anything you want. The rice is already beginning to boil. The mirepoix is beginning to sizzle. I'm going to put this over here so you can see it. And see, as I come to a bone, I'm just going to drop it back in there because we can still get some good flavor out of this yet. Just keep stirring your veggies. Watch that rice boil. We boil it hard. I am going to turn it down to about a medium, but I do want to keep it going at a steady boil. Okay, the mirepoix is beginning to get translucent here and a little bit tender. The rice is beginning to boil its water out, so we'll let it go a little bit longer, but it's time to put some broth in here. And we need 4 cups of broth. I have 2 cups here from a previous time, and look how from when I made chicken broth the previous time, and it is gelled, and that's the way I like it. We're going to get that out of there. So we've already got 2 cups here. I'm going to turn this down a little bit now, because it doesn't have to be going so high. Now you can see in here in this bowl where I baked that chicken, there's just a little skim of fat on the top, so that's okay. And all of this good stuff here is just packed with flavor. So we're going to put that in there too, but we're going to measure it first. We're going to strain it and measure it because I want to make sure I have at least 4 cups. That's real close. So we're going to go all the way to the top with that. And if I give it just a minute, then some of that fat will come off and I can pull some of it off. Now, if you can see inside the bottom of my rice pan here, the water has boiled down to where it's bubbling just over the top. So at this point, we're going to turn it down on super low. We're going to put the lid on it, and it only needs to cook 5 more minutes. In 5 minutes, your rice will be done. And in fact, about half of that time, and I can take it off the burner completely because it'll finish cooking. Okay. Now I have 4 cups of broth, at least 4 cups of broth in my pan with my veggies. I'm going to add the seasonings. This is salt and pepper to taste, about a ½ teaspoon of parsley, about a ¼ teaspoon of thyme, 1 bay leaf, and about ½ teaspoon of lemon pepper. We're going to put that in there and let that get all mixed up. I'm going to take one teaspoon of cold water and mix with this cornstarch. This is 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. We don't want chicken and rice soup to be thick, but neither do we want it thin. So with 4 cups of liquid, we only need 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. My husband's going to put me some Berkey water in there. So we're going to dissolve that, stir it up. Boy, it's thick on the bottom, but it's beginning to let that water through now. Just start stirring it a little bit. I think that's probably been about 3 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and turn the burner off of that. Continue letting it set just on the burner. Now here's my chicken. that I've pulled off the bones. And I want at least 4 cups of chicken. So here's my two cup measure. And I like them chunky. So there's 2 cups. And there's 2 cups. You can cut this as small as you want. I didn't quite get 2 cups. I could pull some of this off of the legs, but I'm not going to. I think that's close enough. So there's 4 cups of chicken in 4 cups of broth. Okay, I believe it's been about 5 minutes on the rice. So we're going to test it and see what we think. Use a fork. Now, if you can see down in there, see all of the water has been absorbed. You can tell by your fork that it's tender because you can feel the difference when it's tender and when it's not, and it's fluffy. So we could actually put this in a bowl and serve it as steamed rice. So I think I'll do that. Okay, see how fluffy that is? I'm going to take a bite of it as soon as that cools off. And we'll adjust for seasoning. That's good. That's just right. This chicken is beginning to bubble now, and everything's already cooked. So all you really have to do is just bring it up to temperature and to let that cornstarch start working a little bit. And in fact, it's getting a little bit thicker, and that's probably about where I want it. Again, you don't want your chicken and rice thick. You just want it to not be completely watery. If I was going to serve this to myself, I would just take some of it right like that, because I can have that. And is that pretty? Of course, you'd take the bay leaf out. But for anyone else, they're going to want it over rice. And there's your chicken and rice soup. So Granny B's secret recipe was don't boil your chicken, bake your chicken. And look how wonderful that looks. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.